Yeah, I realize I've been talking, but you have not been hearing me. So let me see if I can redo all of that. So I was saying, welcome to our very first JP Spence Let's Be Real live talk forum. I am just so excited for what's going to be taking place here tonight. And I hope you are. I don't know if you can see the look on my face. I am just extremely excited. So if you think that there's somebody that can benefit from a conversation like this, I want you to do me a favor. Just send out this flyer, send out the link as much as you can to many of your friends. Tell them to join in the discussion, join in the chat. We have a lot to talk and discuss tonight. If it is that you are joining me in the YouTube live chat room, I want you to just quickly type your name in the chat, send me a shout. Let me know you're there. Let me know where it is that you are tuning in from so that I can give you a shout out. All right, awesome. All right, so good night, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is that you're tuning in from live globally. I wonder if there's a feedback being heard in my, just give me a quick moment. Okay, awesome. Awesome, much better. I'm back with you all now. That's much better as hearing a little feedback here. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I was saying, send out the link to as many persons as you possibly can so that they can join in on this discussion. So for wherever you're tuning in from, it is about 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Jamaica. This is JP Spence. Jody-Ann, Jojo, JJ, whatever it is that you want to refer to me as, but for our live talk forum here this evening, you can refer to me as JP. All right, and it is the JP Spence Let's Be Real live talk forum. All right, so a little about me. I am a kingdom diva. I'm a child of God. I am a wife to the most handsomest husband in the entire world. I am the mother to the most gorgeous, fun-loving son in the entire world. I am a youth director at my home church. I am an ordained minister. I am a physiotherapist. I am a speaker. I am multi-potentialite. There's this phrase that's going around now. Multi-potentialite means you have a lot of gifts and talents wrapped up on the inside, just waiting to be unleashed. You are multifaceted. You're able to do and accomplish with excellence a lot of things. And I feel that I am somewhat in that category. And this is one of them. This is one of them, the JP Spence Let's Be Real Talk Forum. And it is something that has been laid on my heart to do. Just to have real and live and open and honest and transparent discussions on a lot of situations and topics that have been most prevalent in our society, and especially amongst our youth, our young women, and our married couples. All right. So that's a little bit about me. So that's the purpose of this channel. And there is a narrative that goes around that says, you know, you don't need to be open, you don't need to be transparent, there's no need to share your story. Well, I beg to differ. As I had mentioned in my introductory video to this channel, that there are a lot of stories, a lot of influential, and I'm sure you can pick one or two or many of the stories that you have heard, that you have really just applied some of the principles that you have learned from those stories to your life. And because of it, you are a better person today. So why not share your story? Why not be transparent? Why not be open? Why not be real? Why not let somebody know that you have overcome? Let them know how you have overcome. Let them know that you are still trying to overcome, so that we are all really in this together. All right. So that is the purpose of this channel. And I hope that every word that is said, you will be blessed, you'll be inspired, you'll be motivated, you'll be challenged to take on life, whether it is a month, a year, or even one day at a time. All right, so that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about this channel, the purpose of this channel. All right, so without further ado, I am going to introduce my guest. OMG. OMG, I'm so excited. I'm all over the place right now with my finger trying to maneuver this thing, but I'm so excited for my guest here. My guest here tonight, and I'm just going to take some time to introduce her as she gets ready to turn on her camera. All right, so my guest that has joined us this evening is none other than Arkia Higgs. Arkia Higgs, Mrs. Arkia Higgs, or Minister Arkia Higgs. And she is a certified wellness coach. She is also a physiotherapist. She is an ordained minister of the gospel, born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas. She has a special enthusiasm for the empowerment and upliftment of women. And her mission is to rehabilitate the whole woman. She is helping each one to reach their fullest potential by becoming their best self. Like every true nurturer, her company, Dreamer Starter Inc., an online community geared to personal development, guides her clients up a path of self-discovery to uncover their true gifts. And Arkia is also the owner of Physically Fit Wellness and Rehabilitation Services. Come on in the room, Kia, are you there? I want to see that beautiful face. I know you're there. If you're there, just unmute your mic. Let us at least hear that you are in the room and that you have joined us tonight. I'm going to take some time and even introduce her a little bit more, because Arkia Higgs is known to me in a little special way. Okay, all right, so a little technical difficulty, so just give me a quick moment.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Little feedback though. You probably have to shift one of the devices.
Yeah. So.
What is the devil doing, man? Tell the devil jump off that thing. My God, just a little preview into just the fun, real discussion time that we're going to have, and they're trying to fight us out. Here, are you there? Yes, I'm seeing you.
All right. Still getting feedback.
Yeah, still a little feedback. You probably have to shift one of the devices. But I'm so excited to see you, girly, girlfriend, sister.
Technology always does its own thing. And I was just right there getting all primed up, ready to come on and Zoom. This tablet just doing its own thing, but we gonna get on anyhow. All right, let me just.
Okay, but I'm just glad you're finally in.
Yes.
So I don't know if you heard my introduction of you.
I heard it, and it was wonderful. Listen.
Okay.
Congratulations to JoJo, JP Spence. Big up. Listen, I am so excited for you, girl. I am so excited. I am looking forward to great things coming from this YouTube channel. Lots of energy and, of course, lots of real talk. Okay, so I'm so excited. Jody, I thank you for introducing me. And like I said, congratulations. You'll hear more about our relationship as I go on talking. I'm not sure if we're going to be back and forth, or if you want me just talk, you can let me know if you want to interject at any point in time. But again, thank you. And I am praying all God's best for you.
Thank
And
you so
so
much.
you're most welcome.
Did I
So
interrupt you there?
you could hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So the topic for tonight, delayed progress, aka lack.
Hold on. Let me.
Oh,
Take
that's
your
why I was
time, take your
asking.
time, slow your roll.
So are we okay? That's why I was asking. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
okay,
gonna introduce the topic and then we're gonna get right into the discussion.
okay,
You
no
look like you're
problem,
more
girl.
excited than me. But first, before I introduce the topic, I have to send a shout out to Tanya Ewing, Minister Tanya Ewing. I see you on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support. I see Grace Ann Collins. Thank you so much for your support. Grace. I'm seeing ATI. I'm not too sure who that is, but thank you so much. And listen, just send your comments in the YouTube chat room. I'm able to see them. And I want us to have an engaging discussion as much as we can, as much as possible. So just type it in the chat. I am ready and raring to get this conversation started and to involve you in that discussion. All right. So let's get to the meat of the matter. But before that, here, I have to ask you a few questions, right? We can't just get into it. And the people that don't know much about you, they need to know a little bit more about who Arkia Higgs is. So I have 3 questions for you, and I want you to answer them very short, very hot, very spicy. Just drop it and leave it, and let it be quick and concise. All right. So the first question is, what is the best thing that has happened to you since the start of 2022?
Ooh, 2022.
Yes, drop it like
I would
hot.
say the best thing for me is just me getting back to my true self and me getting back to God's purpose for my life.
Very good. That's exceptional. And that is something that we should all try to, do. If we're out there, we're not sure what it is, let us try and discover what is our real purpose. So that is good for you. And I'm so happy for you. And if you have not found your purpose out there, it's not too late. You can do that as well. All right. Second question. What excites you the most?
Ooh, what excites me the most?
That purple hat is exciting me right now because purple is my favorite color. And I love those kind of hats, but it ain't about me. It's about you. What is the thing that excites you the most?
I don't want to be super spiritual, but I love a good time with God. Mm-hmm. I love worship. Mm-hmm. But taking it away from spiritual is I love quiet time. I'm an introvert by heart, so I really love quiet time. Beautiful sceneries, just anywhere where I could just, talk to myself and be one with myself. But on the spiritual side, I would say I definitely love a good worship. I get very excited about that.
Well, girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. And that's one of the things that excites me the most too. And as a child of God, getting that one-on-one with God is something that really, puts you in a place to just let you know how much God is listening to you and how much he's hearing you. So, to be able to get that time where he speaks to you, I'm telling you, it's priceless. So I share that sentiment as well. Yes. All right. Okay. So the last question is, what would you change about yourself if you could?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. Definitely, if it was one thing that I could change is, I would say 2, but being a morning person, I always be like, I wish I could be a morning person, and then managing my time better. Like I say that like every living day. It's always a struggle.
I'm sure it's a struggle for everybody. It's one of my big struggles too. Mm-hmm. So, I could relate. That's something I would change about myself too. If there was one thing you could change about yourself, YouTube fam, just type it in the chat. Ain't no shame in this. Let's be open, let's be real. Let's all help each other to be a better person, right? So, down to our topic here. Our topic, as you can see, I'm very excited because we have been through it here. separately, together. A lot of people have been through it. And, you know, there are just testimonies, there are victories, you know, there are people that are still taking it one day at a time. There are still people that struggle with it. So I thought that this would be a great topic, you know, for us to start off with. And our topic for tonight is delayed progress. Let me hear you say delayed progress.
Delayed
yes, I heard
progress.
all the YouTube people say delayed progress. So to be even more specific, we are talking about a lack of education and independence. Ouch. A lack of education and independence. No, listen, I don't want you to go all off and saying, maybe I have, you know, been there, done that. Nothing seems to work. You know, I have not been able to progress. I have made one step forward and then it seems like I've made two steps back. But listen, this is something that you need to get listen to and get a hold of in terms of the discussion tonight. We intend to be very real and open and honest with you tonight in terms of how it is that we have gone through and how it is that we have overcome. We feel that there's somebody that can benefit from this. Please send them the information. Send them the link, tell them to join in, all right? So delayed progress, lack of education. And I want to start off with this quote that I found by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it says, intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education, all right? Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And I know a lot of times people have it that, you know, education is going into a classroom and going to sit at a table and sit on a desk and to just absorb the information that is being taught to them. But I find that, you know, education seems to take on a whole different scope or a whole new meaning, especially, you know, in recent times, the last couple of centuries, where education is not just classroom, it's not just what you learn in the classroom, but it has taken on, you know, the ability to be street smart. So, you know, what you learn on the road, what you learn when you interact with people, you know, the different things that you know, education seems to be on a wider tool. So here, my first question for you is, as it relates to education, let's take it back a little bit. Give us a little bit about your education, where your education started and where it is at presently in terms of the different institutions that you went through for education. You're muted here, just unmute.
Okay, so I am in the Bahamas, as you all know. So I started my initial education at a school called Nassau Christian Academy, where I went to kindergarten and then I went on to high school. That's where I met Jody during my high school period. We were teenagers at the time. And I graduated out of high school and I went on to COB, which is the local college here. It's now the University of the Bahamas. And during that time, you know, the whole trend was you go to COB for 2 years, then you go to the US, go to the Caribbean, or go to the UK. So when I came out of school, I did just that. I went to COB. So in my second year now, Jody comes to me and she's like, girl, you want to go to Jamaica? And I'm like, hey, yeah, Jamaica, let's go.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah. You know, my 2 years was up, so I was ready to do the next best thing. And we did just that. We went to Jamaica, didn't know where we was going to be going when we reached. But we went there together along with her mother who was leading this adventure. And when we reached there now, we went to Excelsior College. Big up Excelsior.
Yes.
Yes. So we went and we applied to go to Excelsior. Of course, the initial plan was to go into medical school.
Yes.
We were supposed to go into medical school. That never happened. We didn't have what was required. So scratch that. The next best step was to go to a community college. And now we did that for a year. And then I think we applied to medical school again, didn't get in. The requirement was go to a prelim. We went, did prelim, and I think we applied to medical school again and still did not get in. So by this time, this would have had to been about almost 3-4 years by this time, right? So at that time, I went into level 1. I met some I'm not going to say PT, physical therapy students around school. They were dressed in their uniform. And I was like, what you guys doing? And they told me. I did my research and I was like, medical school don't seem to be working. Maybe I should, go along this path. And I researched it. I felt a connection. And then I went and I pursued it. So now I applied for PT school, came back home for the summer, did my interview, got rejected. And they told me what I needed, what was the requirements for this time. And after that, I went back the following year. I did the classes that I needed to do, but there was one more class that I had to do for the summer. And I applied for PT school. And by this time, my high school classmates who I would have graduated with, this is the time that they would have been graduating with their first degree. So looking on social media, seeing everyone, with their gowns and stuff like that, I was like, well, hell, like, sweet girl, you need to do something with your life. You need to do something with your life because everybody's moving on and you're getting left behind. Mm. So it was at this point I had a reality check that, you're not getting any younger, so you better do something. So I was determined that I have to do something with my life. I went for the interview. This time I was in Jamaica. I got my best clothes that I could find, my best shoes, the best outfit I could find in my closet. And I put that on with my heels, my makeup and everything. And I went up in there and I was confident. Even though their faces were straight, they tried to intimidate me, but boo-boo, I was ready for them. I was ready and I went in there confident. Yeah. But of course, that human side of you, you still tend to doubt, right? Yeah. So when I came out of the interview, I went home and Jody, I began to cry. And I began to pray. And I'm like, God, I need you to open up this door. I really, really need you to do it for me. And I cried so much till I could barely see. And I laid down on my bed. I began to catch myself. And I opened up the laptop and I began to check my emails. And I saw an email from the university. So everything inside of me just stood up like, what? Let me go check this out. I went, I checked the email. Congratulations, you have been accepted. Sweetie, I had the room for myself. Yeah. I jumped, I screamed, I couldn't flip, but I rolled around on the floor. I did all that stuff, right? Yeah. I was so excited and I couldn't believe it. What happened, with determination and prayer together, with focus together with God, what it could do. So now, I went home because I was supposed to stay for a summer class. I went home and I was all excited and stuff like that, getting ready to come back to Jamaica now. It's August, school about to open up. My bags are packed. My father, who's usually the person who supports me, from I was in kindergarten, he's the person who usually supports me on the morning of, I'm like, Daddy, where the money at? I need the money to go. And he pauses on the phone and he says, Kia, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. Everything inside of me dropped. And of course, I start crying, right? I start crying. I'm like, God, what? Like, at this point of all the times throughout my schooling, at this time when my mind is made up, I'm fed up, I'm trying to do something with my life. And you
finally get accepted.
Exactly. Yeah. After getting accepted. So I call my friends. I think I called Jody and I called Melissa and I'm like, I coming back to Jamaica to get my stuff and I come in home. And my friend Melissa, she was like, No man, Kia, no man, you got to come, you got to come. If you got to stay with me, we have to do this. And she was like, no, she wasn't having it. And I was like, in my mind, I started to see like a little bit of hope of how this could happen. But I went on the flight and stuff like that. And I keep thinking it over, like how I could do this, how I could do this, how I could do this. I had a vehicle at the time in Jamaica that I had just recently purchased. And while I was on the flight, something came to me, say, sell the vehicle, sell the vehicle. I put the vehicle up for sale and I was able to use the funds from the vehicle to pay for the initial parts of my tuition. But could I tell you, those 3 years of PT school was rough. It was rough financially. The program itself is rigorous.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Listen, before we even get to PT school, because I'm also a physiotherapist to be graduated this year as well. So before we even go there, I also want to talk about some of the stuff that you mentioned earlier, because there were just a lot of things that you mentioned, a lot of little nuggets. And, I just want to zoom in on some points. And the first thing that you mentioned is because I shared this story with you because we pretty much went through most of it together. And by the way, disclaimer, if you hear me venture off into the Bahamian dialect, is because I am half Bahamian, all right?
Oh, and I have
but not really. I've spent most of my high school years, almost 8 years, in Nassau, Bahamas. So if you hear me get a little of the Bahamian dialect, you know why, all right? But my family migrated to the Bahamas, and I met this wonderful young lady that is on the screen named Arkia Higgs, and we have pretty much not left each other since. We have had many ups and downs, but we are still here. And we pretty much did most of our schooling together. And I remember when we applied for the University of the West Indies, Mona, our primary goal was to get into med school. And that's something I want to talk about because, our mindset was geared towards med school. And we're talking about delayed progress. I'm not sure if you can shed some light here, maybe if you have it or you don't really have it, but if you can shed some light on how is it that sometimes when you grow up in a certain kind of environment and you grow up among certain kind of people and, their goals are towards a certain kind of profession, a certain kind of lifestyle, and you even grow up with your own ambitions. You want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor. There are certain type of careers that people go or shoot after, and a lot of times persons, are denied, whether it is that they weren't able to make up the prerequisites, to get into these courses and in these schools to complete those courses. How has you applying for med school, what's the word that I would want to say, influence this whole delayed progress? Had it played a role in this whole drawn out period of wanting to be accepted, knowing what occupation you wanted to go into, being denied it, and switching to a totally new, occupation or career path?
Yeah, that's awesome, Jody. I definitely have some thoughts about that. And again, I think it goes back to culture because, growing up, lawyer, doctor, that was it.
Policeman, soldier.
That was it. So pretty much now I have a lot of thoughts about being a teenager because first of all, I feel like you don't really even know yourself to be deciding what it is you want to do and stuff like that because going as you growing, you're still discovering yourself. So for me as a teenager, I always wanted to be a doctor. Now I could tell you there were many different types of doctors that I said during that time, from a dentist,
pediatrician,
doctor, pediatrician,
everything.
Exactly. There were all these different things that I said. So for me, I thought, first of all, being at COB, I thought, that was the best decision on that route. You do your sciences and that's the route you're going to get to do, to do medicine.
Mhm.
So 2 years in, or I should say 2 years wasted, go to Jamaica, another 2, 3 years, I can't say wasted, but another 3 years spent. And sometimes I look back at myself and I said, maybe if my guidance counselor had facilitated me, better, because I remember in high school, personally, I felt like the guidance counselor assisted certain students more. Like, I guess the ones who they felt had more potential. For me, I had to go and ask for information. So I sometimes wonder, like, maybe my path may have been different if maybe I had someone to help me. And then at the same time, the persons who had the information and who knew how to get scholarships and who knew how to do this and that, they kept it secret. They didn't tell anybody about it. So in the midst of delayed progress, I also had lack of knowledge, which I can't really blame myself for, because I mean, what you don't know, you don't know. Of course, there was the personal side of it that I could have done better in terms of my studies and being dedicated and stuff like that. That's that part there as well. But there is something about getting fed up, and there's something about getting sick and tired. So I don't know why my story had to go this particular way. Maybe it's to help somebody else. Maybe it's to encourage somebody else not to give up. But I don't have any regrets about it. I sometimes wish it could have been different, but for me, it adds to who I am today. If I had not gone through that, I would not have the passion that I have now.
That's
I would
it.
have, right. I would have not met the people that I've
Mhm.
met who I consider to be family now. So I believe there's purpose, and we're talking about progress. When you talk about progress, you're talking about going through a process, and a
Mhm.
process has a purpose. It's to
Mhm.
refine you. It's to
Mhm.
prepare you for purpose,
Mhm.
that is ahead. So
Mhm.
I always say delayed but not denied. So
Mhm.
I wish things were different, but at the same time, I realized that God had purpose in it. And it was to prepare me, it was to mold me, it was to shape me for who I am now. Because sometimes you could get to your destination and you cannot be prepared. You could not be prepared. So, some valuable lessons that I learned during my delayed progress was, first
Mhm.
of all, you got to seek God first. You
Yeah.
got to seek God first, and you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to be consistent, and you have to walk in excellence.
Yeah.
So I resonate with all of that, but I try to find peace with it. If I don't find peace with it, I'll have resentment, but I'll
Mhm.
accept it. This is
Mhm.
my journey. That was the path I had to travel. Yes,
Yeah.
there were other external factors that affected it, but
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and I love how you switched, your statement, and corrected yourself to the actual truth is, because you said that you had 2 years wasted, and then you said not 2 years wasted, but 2 years spent, and you can't really call it time wasted because there is something about the with the progress, whether it's delayed or it's your progress was smooth sailing, or whether you jumped 2 years ahead, whatever the progress was, there is a process behind that, and the process is very much as important as the destination to where you're heading. Some may even argue that it's even more important than the destination you're heading, because there's a lot of
Mhm.
things that you are going to learn, and there is a lot of molding and shaping of your character and your mindset and the way that you think towards situations and people, that if you don't pay attention to the process, if you don't pay attention to the process, you're going to be so caught up in trying to get to the destination and miss what the process has to offer you, and you reach a destination and you realize you're not prepared, you're not ready to handle what it is that it has to offer. So I so resonate with that, and it's very important because that's one of my favorite scriptures of all time, Romans 8 verse 28, that all things work together for good to them that
Mhm.
love God and to them that are called according to his purpose, not
Yeah.
your purpose, to his purpose. So don't be dismayed, that things are they're not going the way that you plan. They're not going to the normal steps or the normal series that it ought to take. But there is a process and there is a reward for those that go through the process. Amen. You know, I'm not
Amen.
preaching up in here, but you know,
That's a whole
that
word.
part really resonated with me because it's something that I live by. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work
All
together
things.
for good. You know, and I can recall a time even in my own, as I went through the whole schooling and I shared a lot of the things with you, you know, it was just to go through high school and it just was, you know, wanted to be a doctor, you know, and we even had somewhat of a mentor or a big sis at the time that had just gone off to med school. And, you know, I don't want to call her name because I don't want to get in any trouble, but we know who that was. And, you know, for me, I was like, yeah, man, she can do it. I must can do it too. And, you know, and, you know, I don't think I've ever shared this with her, you know, but I remember the time where she went off to med school and KF, if you're listening, if you're listening, I did not get to share this with you at any point, but just know that this was really in my heart, you know, and I saw her go off to med school and, you know, and she came back on a break. And at that time I had applied and I didn't get through Kia, you know, and there was a sort of boy wishing that, you know, it was you, or there was some resentment, or there was some form of, you know, a whole lot of things spill out from that. I want to talk about that. How much is it that we need to be careful when we're looking at the progress of others and realizing that we are not yet there, and you know we want to get there, and you know having to be careful of, you know, attitudes or spirits of jealousy, bad mind, as we call it in a Jamaica. You're just bad mind, you know, jealousy, you know, covetousness. How important is it to be mindful of those things, and how great of a role does it play in delaying your own progress?
Listen, comparison syndrome. It is a dream killer. You want to talk about weeds? You want to talk about being stuck?
Mm-hmm.
Comparing yourselves to others. And I would be, this is about being transparent, but this is an ongoing process for me.
Yeah.
It's something that I think that, I mean, because as you go from level to level in life, you will have different wants, you'll have different desires, and there's always someone around you who has the thing you want. So it brings me to a point where I have to keep reminding myself, and I'm saying this to each of you, is to stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. Just as our DNA prints are different, our journeys are different.
Yeah.
I believe that we could learn things from people, and you have to be so careful to know what to take and what to leave. You have to guard your mind, you have to guard your spirit.
Yeah.
And sometimes, Jody, it even requires you to isolate yourself. Sometimes you have to pull away because, you know, we are human. We are
Yeah.
human. And it's just like being on social media. If you see all these fancy things all the time, it begins to affect you. So you have to guard yourself. And sometimes you have to just pull away and just zone in to what it is that you're going towards. Whatever your goal is, whatever your purpose is, focus on that and blind everything else out. Put your blindfolds on, zone out everything else, and keep your eyes on the prize. And it's ongoing. It's ongoing. If not, those weeds they will begin to grow and they will begin to choke your dream.
Yeah.
Like you talked about, jealousy, becoming covetous, and point blank, you will remain stuck because you cannot have progress. You won't be able to have progress when you're focusing on what everybody else is doing. It's
Right.
impossible. And sometimes that's why, in some cases, that's why we have delayed progress,
Yeah.
because we're trying to live another person's dream.
Yeah.
You're
My
trying
God.
to live someone else's dream. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to keep your eyes on the prize. Whatever that initial dream was that God gave you,
Mm-hmm.
focus on that. Remind yourself of that. Put it someplace where you could see it. Put it on a wall. Put up a picture or something to remind yourself what it is that you're working towards, so that when you see things come outside of that, you know, okay, hey, this ain't for me. That don't go here. That don't apply to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to celebrate others as well.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy for us to celebrate others when God is doing things in their life, and
Yeah.
don't be niggly with it. That's something we say over here. Don't be niggly, you know?
What does
Don't be
niggly mean?
saying
Please
it.
help us Jamaican people.
Don't be don't be stingy with it. You saying it, right? You saying it, but really and truly you ain't meaning it. You be like, oh, you look good, girl. But really in your
Yes, but you
mind, you
don't
kind
really
of
mean
thinking,
it from your heart.
no, 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 no. You don't mean it from your heart. And that's why it's important to have a good sense of a good sense of who you are as a person. You have to be one with yourself. You have to know who you are, where you're going, and why you're going there. You
Mhm.
see, when you have a clear view of that, everything else, it won't move you or push you as easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me stop running on. Let me stop.
No, no, you can run right along because I am just, I resonate so much with the different things that you're saying, and I know our viewers, a lot of persons that have resonated with someone, especially, comparing ourselves. That is just a big thing that has been going on, is going on, and still is going on for whatever the reason. But, we have to be able to elevate our mindset, and elevate to come out of that state, because really and truly, that's like running with a parachute behind your back. You're not really progressing anywhere. There's no momentum. You're not moving, you're not progressing, and that's part of your delay, as you would see it, because we're still stuck in a comparison where we're comparing ourselves to the person that is on our right and our left, and that plays a big role in a lot of the delays that we are experiencing. So just, if it is that you can't manage, and that's a sad state to be in. If you can't manage to celebrate others on your right or on your left, they're achieving, they're going on, and you have somewhere to go, and you can't manage to do that, well, I have been there, let me not behave like I have not been there. There are times where I've compared myself many times, especially Kia, let's talk about being transparent. Let's be transparent right now. You see, Kia started PT school in what year, Kia?
2012.
Don't even guess her age right now, but she started PT school in 2012, and she gone through the years and she graduated. I started PT school the same year that 2012. No, I started PT school the year after, which was 2013. And Kia gone on. Oh, Kia is a short name, but I'm calling Arkia. Arkia went on and graduated. I'm gonna tell you, say, Kia, if me never bad mind you, other people in my classroom, because there's a stigma attached to when it is that you're not able to progress in a certain time frame that is set out for you to progress. There's a stigma attached. Oh, I want she dance. I want she not money. I want she not focus. I want man dep on her head. What it is that is causing this delayed progress, and there are a lot of things that you said that cause the comparison, and a lot of things, finances, and I want to touch there. But out of that comparison and seeing my friend, my sister, that we both started on this journey together, that we're going to go somewhere, and Kia went ahead and graduated and left me right there. So in the same place, what the program must take 3 years to complete. And sisters, friends, brothers, when I tell you, when your mind is not in the right place, there are other variables that would have also assisted in me not progressing. But one of the variables was comparison, not focusing on my own, lane and where I wanted to go, and what took 3 years took 9 years. And that's me being transparent tonight, because, and that is why we have to look at what are some of the things that are causing the delay in your life, as relates to education, and you wanting that education and you wanting that independence. You have to get over the comparison. You have to get over looking at other people, becoming jealous and becoming covetous. I must say, me did bad mind Kia little, and Kia, it wasn't made of honor at my wedding, but that was a whole phase in itself. I went through that phase, and that has gone. But we have, so the point that I was making, if we can't be able to look at other people and congratulate people and wish them well and just be comfortable in your own lane and your own process and your own progress, then it's a sad state to be in. But if it is that you need to put blinkers on, you're not focusing on the person on the right, you're not focusing on the person on your left, and you're just doing your thing, and if that's what you need to do to get where you need to get to, then fine, go ahead. But we need to be able to realize that when persons are progressing, when persons are achieving, when persons are accomplishing, it doesn't take anything off of you. They have their own process, their own progress to go through. And there may be something else in their lives that you may have shot ahead at, or, but we don't even want to look at that whole, I don't even want to run on, because there's a whole lot to say. I don't see already that there's a part 2, 3, and 4 from this. But, I just really had to get that off my chest. But the point here, your camera went off. Okay, it's back now. The point that I wanted, the next point I wanted to talk about was, and we're coming down because we're going to close shortly, is that I remember a time where I finally got accepted to PT school because I had spent 3 years in pure and applied sciences, didn't graduate. I applied for med, wasn't accepted. Applied for PT school, but I couldn't get entry into it yet because there was still a subject for me outstanding, and I had to go ahead and spend another year and do that. And I finally got in chaos. I remember the point where you said that, man, you finally knew your purpose, knew what you wanted to do, and you went to Jamaica, and there was a time where you approached your father, who was your main, the main breadwinner for your family, the main support system for you financially. And you mentioned that he did not have it at that point in time. And that brought me back to when I just got into PT school. And my first year, I made up my mind, I'm going to study, I'm going to do everything. And it almost wants to bring me back to tears. But I went, it was time to sit the exams. And my main source of financial support, my father as well, did not have the finances. I studied, we studied Kia. We studied, we said, no, we have to pass. We have wasted so much years. This looks like finally the path that God wants us to have into, and the funds didn't come in time for me to sit my exams. That if you look at my transcript right now, for my first year of PT school, FA, which means failed absent, for all of those courses, which made an impact on my transcript and made an impact on my GPA. That was the most depressing moment of my life. One of the most depressing moments of my life, where finally I felt like I was on the road to where I wanted to go, and I did not see how I would have overcome. Bring me back to that state here where you experienced that with your father not being able to come up with the finances, but yet your friend was there to offer some word of encouragement. And it got you out of that deep hole to say, let me still push ahead. Let me still fight for this. Let me still go ahead and achieve and accomplish my goals. What made you come out of that state and still journey along your process?
Well, remember I said I was fed up. And quite frankly, Jody, I didn't have anything else to do. Like, what you gonna do? Like, I had not even think. I did not have a plan B, and I didn't have a plan C. And I am the queen of having a plan B and a plan C. I did not have a next plan, Jody. So I went through a state of shock. I went through a state of shock. And I can't even say that when I didn't even have a place where I fully came out of it, because the entire 3 years was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle emotionally, because during that time I lost several family members during that time. And like every semester, it was you just hoping and praying the money come. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes the day of exams and you have to go and run and get the money off the ATM to go to the to pay the tuition and then run back and go to exam, just making it in the nick of time. And that
Mhm.
isn't the exam nerves that you always have before
Yeah.
every exam. So my entire 3 years that I spent in that program, I can't ever say that I fully came out of it. It was just something that I didn't have anything else to do. And I kept telling myself that I couldn't waste any more time. And that was my determination. And I think I remember someone telling me, an immediate family member told me, you should just come home. You should just come home, just give up. They didn't say just give up, but essentially that's what they were telling me. And my mom and my aunt, they was like, no, no, you're gonna do this. And they pulled together and they put their resources together, and I was able to get through. It may not have been the way I wanted. I remember days, not knowing what I was going to eat. I remember just having enough. And if you know anything about Jamaica and the Bahamas, I'm coming from the Bahamas where the US dollar is equal to the Bahamian dollar, and going to Jamaica now where, the value is less. I used to have to go and get chicken foot, which you can is less than $1. Go get chicken foot and have curry chicken foot, barbecue chicken foot, every way stewed chicken foot, every way that I could think to prepare that, because that was the
Yeah.
cheapest meat that I could get. So it was
But yeah,
hard.
I have to interrupt you here. I remember one scenario where we were living together and the two of us were going through it. I'm telling you, the funds were short and we must have had some leftover, something in the fridge, a little piece of leftover chicken, a little piece of leftover pork or something. I'm going to tell you, Kia, it was rough, When we're done with that, when we done cut up the chicken and when we done cut up the pork and we'll cut up piece of potato and make a meal out of that and you bless that.
Exactly. Belly
The
full.
struggle was
All you need
real.
is a
Go
belly
ahead.
full.
Yeah.
Yes. It was rough, Jody.
Yeah.
It was rough. And I can't never say I came out of it and felt like, woo, I overcome, I hear, whatever. It was a process.
Mm-hmm.
It was a process straight through
Mm-hmm.
those 3 years. And I can't even talk about what happened after that. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I was determined.
Mm-hmm.
I was determined and I was focused and I knew what I was working towards. And I feel like when you as an individual do your best, God steps up and he does his best. That's
Yeah.
why I say a lot of times he's just waiting on us. And I
Mm-hmm.
did the best that I could, and God did the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I am eternally grateful. It was more gratitude. I had a lot of gratitude for the process, for every class that I was able to pass, every practical that I was able to pass. It was just gratitude. I was just humbled and
Yeah.
grateful, just taking it one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah. Kia, I have so many more questions to ask. I have
I
so
know.
many more stories. We haven't even touched PT school as yet. I haven't even touched after PT school. But it's already looking like a part two, part three.
Yeah.
But I did promise that we would wrap up at around 8. But you mentioned so many things about you are the queen B or queen A or queen C or whatever of making plans, and that's me. And my husband can tell you that I will make plans for tomorrow. I'll make plan for the next 3 months. I'm making plan the next 20 years of my life. And this is not, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to get married. No, this is detailed plan, You're making detailed plan of what you want to happen, when it want to happen. And you mentioned even that and how important it is to just really give your plans to the Lord, even in your making plans. You have to realize, what does God want for your life? What, there's just so many things that we have to talk about, girls. So it's already looking like a part 2, 3, and 4, as I keep repeating myself, because I want us to know that this is not the end of the story. There's a lot more to this delayed progress and education and independence that we have gone through. And I know that you listening and watching have gone through and want to share in the story. We are both now officially Kia way ahead of me, physiotherapist, and I can now call myself a physiotherapist. And there is a journey, and in every journey, there is a place for you to reach in your journey, a stop for you to get to before the next stop. And you will reach the next stop as long as you put God at the front and at the head. Focus on your lane, focus on the journey, congratulate those around you, trust the Lord, give the plans to God, and just do your best. Kia, there are 3 things that I want you to leave with our viewers and those that are listening and watching as it relates to delayed progress and the whole pursuing education and independence that we all want to achieve in our life. What are 3 things out of the many that you would have already shared with us already, but 3 things that you would want to encourage us to really focus on, if it is that we have not really received or reached that place where we want to reach in our lives, being successful in our educational pursuits and our independence? What are 3 things you want to leave with us that we should really focus on?
Okay, well, I would have already said it, like you said, but 3 things. If I were to say 3 things for you to do if you are going through a season of delayed progress, if you are you may not even be in it yet, but whenever that season comes and there is something that you're working towards that seems to be like you feel stuck and you're not going anywhere, seek God first. Seek him first and accept what he is saying to you. Accept where he's leading you and where he's guiding you.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I would say is be prepared, stay prepared. Sometimes we asking God for stuff and quite frankly, we're not ready for it. But whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you're working towards, get prepared. If you need to do a class, whatever it is, if you don't know what you need to do, find a mentor, find an advisor, go and find someone to go to get the information that you need to so that you can get prepared. Faith without works is dead. So you have to do something. And then the next thing I would say is be your best. Be your best. At the end of the day, know that you would have put out everything that is within you. Know that you would have given it your best. Sometimes we do things half-heartedly.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't do it to the fullest of our potential. We just give whatever is like whatever.
Yeah.
But do your very best. When you do your best, God does the rest. So do your best. Give him something to work with. And I'll stop there.
Woo! OMG. Thank you so much, Minister Arkia Higgs, Mrs. Arkia Higgs, Bachelor's, RPT, JK, LMNOP, all those things.
Sorry, Jody, can I big up my family?
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
You can hear me? I just said I wanted to big up my family because I didn't mention my husband and my 3 kitties. I want to mention them before I come off this live. He is my big support system. And then my 2 girls and my 1 little baby, they have me all wrapped up, tied up, tangled up, and all that good stuff. But I love them immensely, and they made me a wife and a mommy now. So big up to them. Love them.
Big up, Deval. Thank you so much for lending us your wife for this hour. Listen, I know you want your wife right now beside you, but I'm letting her go right now. Thank you so much, Deval. And, I am a proud godmommy to Kia's babies. So, I really know the sacrifice having a son of my own. So my husband, my good up husband, my good up, tall, handsome, well-educated, everything. And some husband is outside there with my son. So, I really know the sacrifice. I really appreciate you, Kia, for coming on this platform and sharing with us. I indeed, was blessed with the nuggets that you left with us. And, you just being open and honest and sharing your story. So I really appreciate it a whole lot. Thank you so much. Viewers, those that are listening and watching, yes, there will definitely be a part 2 and 3 because there is a whole lot more stories to tell. A lot of more situations where we have to be just real and open and honest and transparent with you and how it is that we have gone through and how it is that we are where we are today. So thank you so much for joining. This is JP Spence. Let's Be Real Live Talk Forum. Thank you for tuning in. Join me next week, Saturday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube Live, where I'll have another guest and we will be tackling another topic. The topic for next week is, should I tell you? Should I tell you? Should I tell you from now what the next topic is? I think I should. Should I? All right, hold on. Let me tell you the topic. The topic, I won't tell you the speaker though, but the topic for next week's Saturday YouTube Live, where I'll have a new guest. And by the way, every week I'll be having a new guest and I will be sending all the usual promotions on all of my social media platforms. You're able to follow and be in tune with what is happening. So the topic for next week's Saturday's program, which you don't want to miss, is the need for companionship. Woo! Boot up, boot up, boot up, boot up. You feel like you have to be boot up. You gotta have that significant other. Well, need for companionship, aka singlehood. So join me next Saturday as I share my own story as it relates to my need for companionship and my whole single period. And my guest will also be sharing her story on that topic. So join me next Saturday. So this is JP Spence for Let's Be Real Live Talk Forum. I will see you next Saturday. Peace. Stay good. Walk good. Keep safe. Keep loving yourself. Keep loving those around you. And keep being your real best self.